and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel, and we are all fuming. We are all absolutely furious with what we've just seen. Honestly, I'm shaking with anger. This is not good, but that game, as we said just a minute ago, it was This is an absolutely terrible match on so many levels, because today we're going to talk about the fact that, yeah, we lost against relegation-threatened Las Palmas, and our own performance, it was awful. But the referee, I mean, come on, it's an absolute joke, some of the things that we're seeing here, particularly towards the end of this game. The decisions, the criminal decisions that we saw, we have to discuss those in some detail, guys. It was frustrating from the word go right up until the end, and let's talk about it, because hey, what else are we going to do? We have to fuel this anger somewhere. So let's do it. Because can I just say, this was supposed to be a weekend of celebration. This was supposed to be a really special day in the club's history, of course, celebrating 125 years. We even wore special white shorts. Now, that was actually in homage to the very first Barcelona kit. And maybe I thought those white shorts might actually help us get some good refereeing decisions. But no, because when you're looking at the starting lineup from Hansi Flick, there was no Lamine Yamal from the start, and it was interesting to see there no Dani Olmo either. He did not come on, he does not seem to be physically ready to play right now, and that meant that Pablo Torre and Fermin Lopez supported Raphinha, with Lewandowski leading the line. And I think in the early exchanges of the game, I think Pablo Torre actually had some very nice touches there. He set up Fermin Lopez, there was a real chance in front of goal, and Barca were finding a bit of space in the game. Things were looking okay, but then it got really, really scrappy. Las Palmas started to get a few chances. They started to get opportunities there in front of goal and could have taken the lead in the game. And Barca, again, just concerns there. You know, you're thinking, wake up. You know, I know it's an early kickoff here, but wake up. Try and arrive and focus in this game. And then this happened. Now, I have to talk about this because the man who scored Las Palmas' first goal, in my opinion, Sandro Ramirez, should not have been on the pitch. What happened here with Alejandro Balde was nothing short of a disgrace. Because have a look at him. I've spoken recently on the channel about liking ice hockey, liking the NHL. This is a full-on hit. He's not even looking at the ball. He has absolutely no intention there of playing the ball. He is looking straight at Balde. He runs into him full force there with the elbow raised, smacks him in the throat. Now, if that's not a red, what is? To actually go there for somebody's throat, and unaware as well. Balde then, you saw him on the floor. He's writhing around, coughing, trying to breathe. The scenes were very, very distressing. And you know what as well? This was in direct retaliation from Sandro being nutmegged. He got embarrassed in that moment by Balde. He got nutmegged there earlier in the game, and then he thought, right, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to take this into my own hands. That should have been a red. End of story. And I also think, by the way, the Barca physios, what on earth were they doing? Because Balde's down on the floor, clearly really, really struggling. They try and drag him to his feet. They try and pick him up there. And he actually ended up having to go back down and get stretchered off. We've got to be paying more attention to these situations here. Balde in a bad way on the field, but luckily, apparently now, he is absolutely fine away from it. But that was a scary, scary moment. But right throughout the game, right throughout that first half in particular there, it just never happened again for Barca. There were a few openings in front of goals. Jules Koundé there was fantastically set up by Raphinha, but he blazed his volley over the bar, and then Pedri was denied on the edge of the box there by Jasper Cillessen, one of many former Barcelona players we faced today. And honestly, we didn't shoot enough today. That's one thing that we just failed to do. Every time we did, we forced a save. We caused Las Palmas problems, but we were really, really hesitant for some reason to actually take shots on in and around the penalty area. We've seen us do a really good job of that so far this season, but today they almost look scared to take on that shot, as though they'd rather pass it on to somebody else to then wait for the perfect moment. That perfect moment never came, and we certainly were not able to threaten as much as we should have today. And Raphinha before half-time with a real opportunity there, played in by Gavi. He cuts inside on his left foot. You think it's going to be 1-0 to Barca, but he cannons that one off the crossbar. But in fairness here, Raphinha today, probably the one player who gave it his absolute everything. He was trying to make something happen. He scored an absolute worldie in the second half, of course. Full credit to Raphinha. He was one who can walk away from this game with his head held high. But let's be honest, guys, there were not many others who could do that today. Because then at half-time, Hansi Flick did indeed make an immediate change. Lamine Yamal came off, and Pablo Torre was the player to make way for him. And I thought that was actually really, really harsh there to take Pablo Torre off. He was one of the few players in the first half also looking to make things happen, receiving the ball, wanting to receive the ball, wanting to take it on there. So I was surprised that he was the one sacrificed at half-time. But well, with 4 minutes gone in the second half anyway, it all got even worse. I mean, if it was even possible. I mean, it definitely is. We're going to talk about it getting even worse from even worse. But yeah, Sandro Ramirez scored. Don't really want to talk about that goal because in fairness, it was an absolutely phenomenal finish from him. But like I say, he shouldn't have been there anyway. And I've just got to say, guys, it's really disappointing to see a lot of these former Barcelona players. We've seen it also against Villarreal when they were kicking Lamine Yamal. There's this feeling of, obviously they're desperate to prove a point against us. I understand that. We sent them away. You're playing at Las Palmas now instead of at Barca. I get that. But at the same time, that challenge on Balde, it's not right. And that kind of feeling there, almost that kind of anger within them, we are starting to see that quite a few times from former Barca players playing against us this season. But even with Yamal's arrival, it never quite worked out. It almost looked as though Yamal was trying to get back into his rhythm again. Of course, he's been out for several weeks here. It's going to take a little bit of time, and maybe he wasn't even quite ready to come on that soon in the game. But, we were desperate. We were looking for something. But today, unfortunately, even Yamal was not able to provide it. And then we saw a triple change from Hansi Flick as well. And I'd also say none of these subs really worked out either. Hector Fort came on for Koundé. De Jong came on for Gavi. Ferran came on for Firmine, and I don't really think any of those players really made a positive impact on the game. In all fairness there, obviously today everybody was bad. Most players of Barca did not play well, but the subs today didn't quite hit. They didn't quite change the game positively in our favour. But like I say, one of those few players who played well, Raphinha, you got to say what a goal. I mean, even though in the end it doesn't make any difference to Barca, but for a few minutes there, he gave us hope with an absolutely wonderful strike. He receives the ball from Pedri. He spins there in such a tight area, opens up the shot for him. What a hit that is there. And every time this season Raphinha has been called upon, he has stood up. And I think every single Barca player could learn a lot from what Raphinha has been doing for us this season. Wonderful power on it there just to take the shot away from Sillerson. And then we thought, okay, let's kick on now. This is our moment. We got ourselves level on the score sheet. Now, let's pile the pressure on Las Palmas. That never happened. We did not take a step forward after we scored. If anything, we almost took one back, and that is why Las Palmas could score again. And I gotta say, guys, when they went 2-1 up, I was absolutely shell-shocked. I thought, how on earth has that happened there? To concede one against them, bad enough. To then equalise and then concede again? What on earth is happening? And the defensive play, it was shambolic. It was absolutely non-existent defending there from Barca. So lax, so unfocused. I thought almost as though there's so little pressure on this situation, it must be offside. They all look so relaxed that surely this can't stand. But it was offside, not even close there to being ruled offside. Las Palmas taking the lead. And well then, it got even worse. Then it got even more than it already was, because Barca then tried, they really did try to get themselves back in the game again. Las Palmas every minute were going down with a new injury. They wasted the most time I've ever seen in a game. Even Flick could not hide his anger about that. Pedri had a big chance in front of goal. That ended up being blocked. Jesper Sillerson made save after save after save to deny Raphinha here from a free kick. That's an absolutely incredible save there, tipping that one over the bar. But then we had more refereeing decisions. And how about we take a look at some of these here? Because why not show this one, where the ball comes in, Pau Kubasi going for that ball, and he goes down, and he's appealing very, very passionately for a penalty. And obviously the referee waves it away. Nothing to see here. But remember, VAR should be checking that. VAR should be analysing that whole play and seeing, okay, was there any contact? Was there any reason why that could have been a penalty? Because if you look, there's clear contact on him. There is a clear contact there on the ankle of Pau Kubasi. That's what he's saying. Look at the ankle. Look at what just happened to me. Not looked at, not given the time of day, simply waved away. We'll forget that ever happened. The referees do not care. And it doesn't end there, because this one for me, this is the one here. It's extraordinary how nobody sees this, or how nobody wants to see this maybe, because Pau Victor comes on. He was brilliant, by the way, made a real impact on the game. Should have seen him sooner. He's not only pushed on his way to goal here, cross is made, he's running for that ball, he's pushed, and the defender has a handful of his shirt. You know, it's almost as though here he wants to swap shirts early before the final whistle. He's got a whole handful of his shirt. How is that not a penalty there? And as a result of that, Pau Victor can't reach the cross. Otherwise, he's nodding that in. He is scoring, he's equalising, if not for the push and the grab of the shirt. That is a stone wall penalty. How can the rest be this? How can La Liga consistently do this to Barca and get away with it? It is absolutely mind-boggling. And yet we still had one more chance because, like I say, Pau Victor was really impressive here. He comes on, he uses all of that pace in behind, he gets into a great area, so unselfish too, cuts it back to Lewandowski, but he wasn't there today. I've got to say, guys, Robert Lewandowski in today's game, he wasn't the only one, obviously, many poor performances, but Lewandowski, the passes, the touches in front of goal, just was not his day at all. We couldn't score in the end. We have lost here to Las Palmas. And what that means, and let's be honest here, what this means is absolute disaster in La Liga. We had a massive lead over Real Madrid. We've now got nothing because, yeah, we're 4 points clear at the top. Who cares? We've played 2 games more than Real Madrid. Effectively there, if they win both of their games in hand, which, let's face it, they probably will, because either they'll win the games themselves, or if they haven't quite done enough to do that, I'm sure they would have got one of the penalty appeals that we had today. Make no mistake about that. But look, guys, at the end of the day, we have to look at ourselves too. You know, the referees today were extremely annoying. They always are. You know, they're absolutely shocking in this league. But what about that performance from Barca? It was really disappointing. It was very flat again. It lacked the kind of things that we've been seeing earlier on in the season. What has gone wrong? Because to go 3 league games here without a win, that is something more serious. That is something there that he's looking at, that he's talking about, that he's dissecting. And we are going to be talking more about that on the channel. Make no mistake, guys. But I want to hear from you. I want to know from you in the video here today, what went wrong for Barca? What did you make of that performance? What are your takeaways from it? And I will see all of you soon. Thank you indeed for tuning in today for the match review. I know that it hasn't been a particularly pleasant one, but these things needed to be said, because we need to be honest and admit that so many parts of this game today, they were complete. So thank you indeed, guys, for all of your great support. I will catch you all soon, but until next time, as always, Vejka, Real Barça.